Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a review of Tales of Wedding Rings. Now, we're on episode 10. Now, last week, didn't I say this is the calm before the storm? And I felt something. I knew something like this happens. Because, have you guys noticed this? Every time Sato goes to a place, there's always a calm before the storm. And no matter, every time they meet a new princess, every time Sato gets a new girl, there's always a bad mojo, a bad sign, if you prefer. It's always a catch. There's a catch going on. And like this episode, we got it. I mean, literally got it. And especially you talk about bad timing in anime, in a show or episode, whatever. This is the definition of bad timing. So, without further ado, let's get right to the review of Tales of Wedding Rings review, because I'm gonna get right to it. Okay, so let's see. You got a princess of light, a cat warrior, an elf, and a dragon. All we need is a dwarf. Now, dwarves are hard working people. Kind of like Charmy from Black Clover, which Charmy is a dwarf, by the way. Go watch Black Clover. Anyway, Charmy is one of them. Now, I got a friend of mine who loves Charmy. She found his waifu. I'm like, okay. But I'm comparing that. But now we get to the episode where they go to the land of Earth, where the dwarves are nowhere to be found at all. A city of ruins and not Kingdom of Ruin. The city of ruins, elves are dead. The dwarves are dead. Not much it's not much about it. We have some comedy antics there. Like, we got Granite wants Saphir to ride on her back. It was some funny moments about it, some time to time. But this wasn't about that. This wasn't about that. This was about the calm before the storm. Let's just think about this. Let's think about this. They put Sato in this episode in a huge fucking predicament. Just think about it. Just think about it. They're trying to find the princess of Earth. Not only that, they go into this underground passageway that takes them, and you got this, once again, a dark ring controlling a creature. Now, again, this is one of those times. It's like the dark ring every time. It's always, you guys notice this? It's kind of the cliche thing. I kind of been looking back on it. It's the cliche thing. You know how many times we've seen a princess where every time Sato try to get the girl, there's always a person with a dark ring, and then that ring possesses them, and then we get to see the action pack of Sato's development, all that stuff. Now, here's another thing. I'm gonna be off my chest. The kissing. He made kissing Sato every time. I'm not saying it's boring, but it's getting to that point where it's just like, can he kiss someone else to get a power up? Can he do that? Every time we see Sato kiss Hime, I'm not saying I'm jealous. I'm not saying it's, but you gotta admit, it's kind of repetitive. We've seen Hime kiss Sato many times, and he uses sword as a power up to slice people. Okay, have you kissed Saphir to do that? Have you kissed Nefertiti to do that? Have you kissed Garnet to do that? He don't kiss them like that. Hime does that. Just saying, it's kind of a repetitive thing going on here. But you gotta love the water one, the water dragon girl. You gotta go back a bit. She's kind of funny, cause here's the four people. You got the Princess of Light, who don't really do much, who can't do nothing. Not literally nothing. You got one who's a shut-in elf, and her knowledge is okay, but she's just a shut-in. Then you got a cat warrior who's good on the muscles but not the brains. And then you got a water dragon who can't really do anything without water around her. Her magic kind of less with a little bit of water. So, and again, talk about worst case scenario of your life. Worst case scenario of your life, Sato. The Ring King has assembled his entire freaking army like a bunch of hyenas. They just keep coming. They're like cockroaches. They keep coming and coming, and then you're just like, how many cockroaches is this guy gonna get? How many monsters he's gonna bring out? You got these giant ass ogres coming out like someone like you see from the Attack on Titan final season part 2. I mean, come on, the invasion with those giant ass titans coming around and stomping on people. That's what I'm looking at. He got a whole army of golem like titans. And the evil ring, the Abyss King summoned dragons. He summoned hyenas. He summoned freaking evil creatures, all that stuff. I'm like, they cannot take a break. And you got, and no offense to the 4, but those 4 have not trained. Like Granite could put up a fight, but the others like not Sapphire, Hime, and Nefertiti, they haven't been fighting, you know what I mean? They haven't fought. I mean, literally, they're not trained for this yet. They're not trained for this yet. So you got the Great Sage, you got Mars and Sato put up a fight. The old man. We don't usually talk about him a lot, but it needs to be said. The Great Sage, Hime's grandpa, let me just say this. He's a great character. I don't think we don't say that as much, but he's a great character. I mean, you look at what he did. You look at from the beginning up till now. He's given the okay to Sato, saying, hey, Sato, you can smash Hime. It's okay. Besides, you want to have kids? Go right to it. He's giving him the okay to get wives. He's even okay to give him money to have Sato have a hotel room and with Hime, and better yet, have his harem around. So he's a good guy. Talk about Hime just like, talk about the old man, and especially Mars. You know, again, we gotta give Mars credit where credit is due. He gave up his harem to be with one girl. That's you don't really see that in anime or in a harem where you got this one guy who was supposed to get a harem and then go for one girl. You know, you don't really see that these days. And then he smashed Sapphire's twin sister. So they're gonna have a kid one day. They're gonna have a freaking kid, no question about it. And that moment where they sacrifice themselves to transport them back is really good. So it's like they just transported them to the human world. So it's like, I feel like this Tales of Wedding Rings is like there's Isekai and then you go to reverse Isekai. Because that's what I could be wrong, but that's how I see it. And their final moment, because Sato's not strong enough because he only has 4 wives, he needs the 5th. And without the element of earth, they can't do nothing. So you got the old man and you got Mars sacrificing themselves like we'll hold them back. You go find the element of earth. Or before the Abyss King will kill you. So I like how we got towards the ending credits, after ending credits, where they showed us he's back home. He's back home. He's back home. Now you gotta find the element of earth. Now, and it's like, and it's kind of a funny thing because this is Hime's territory. Because you gotta remember, Hime's been around in the human world all her life. So now she gotta teach these 3 how to live in the human world, especially like putting on a bra and panties. Because again, these 3 had never wore bra and panties before. They just wear onesies. So it's nice. It's great that the end gave us fan service. It gave us gorgeous fan service where you got to see Hime showing the other 3 how to put on bras. It was just, woo, that fan service, especially how they take it off, especially Garnet. Garnet just like, this is why I like Garnet. This is why she's top 3. The way she just didn't care. Like, she took off the bra and then she just put on a shirt and just showing everything. Like, she is so freaking good. Like, oh my God. Yo, I love it. I love it. I mean, Sato wakes up and he sees him. He's like, this guy living a dream. But overall, though, for the element of earth, look, I won't even be surprised. I'll be honest with you guys. Now they in the human world. First of all, the other 3 wives have never been to a human world. They live in the Isekai world, but now they go into the human world. They have to understand like how humans coexist. That's number 1. Number 2, the element of earth. There's a freaking feeling the element of earth is somewhere in the human world. It is good. I don't know why, but it's kind of obvious. You know why? Because think about this. We're on episode 10. We're like a couple of episodes towards the end. Don't you think that's kind of farce? Don't you think that's kind of a, like, we're close to the episode. That means we're getting closer to the element of earth. And somewhere down the line, the earth is going to be somewhere in the human world. So now we're going to see where the element of earth is residing in the human world. But again, you got from so this episode overall was really good. I mean, you went from like, this episode, the theme was the calm before the storm. Like, worst case scenario. It went from good, then you go into bad. And then you got by a sad part where sacrifices are being made to fan service, LOL. But that's what they did. That's what they did. Yeah, that's what they did, this one. So, again, we're close to the episode. I'll tell you right now, we're going to see the element of earth soon. And then, like I said, this is the corner point where she's somewhere in the human world. And again, this is like from isekai to reverse isekai. So they're going to go back and forth to isekai to reverse isekai. By that logic, I'm talking about how Hime is going to have these three to adjust to human life that it is. So we'll see where this goes. So I look forward for next week's episode of Tales of Wedding Rings, and I'll see you soon.